everyone. I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us here on Featured. We hope to inspire or simply make you smile with uplifting stories across the country. Now, it's a writing skill that almost disappeared from the curriculum, but one school in Georgia is proving this form of penmanship is far from forgotten. Dan Kennedy shows us how Cursive is making a comeback.
In an age of texting and typing,
make sure it's anchored on a line.
Students at Robert Shaw are saying don't write off cursive just yet.
Reading and writing cursive, they're superpowers. So we're bringing it back.
Principal Dr. Kim Williams says that superpower nearly vanished during virtual learning.
We had to teach kids how to write again, how to hold a pencil.
So you want to make sure your O looks like an O and your E looks like an E.
This school year, her students are finding the value in the written word.
Sometimes me and my family, we see who can write their names the best.
In cursive?
Yeah.
Who wins?
My mom.
For many kids at this school, cursive isn't the only challenge.
At least 95% of my students' parents are from some part of Africa, and they actually speak another language.
Last semester, nearly every student here mastered writing the preamble to the U.S. Constitution in cursive, earning the state's rare John Hancock Award.
I think they're gaining confidence. I do.
Educators say it helps with literacy. Students say it helps with life.
You sign things, you do a mortgage. Like when you buy a car, you might need to sign something.
Even in an age of scrolling, these scribes are making it a point to write their next chapter in cursive.
And that was Dan Kennedy reporting. Now, two teachers are keeping the spark alive in a connection that goes well beyond the classroom. From lesson plans to laughter to an incredible act of sacrifice. Lindsay Buckingham shows us how two colleagues are now bonded for life.
We have lots of adventures that we do through the years, back and forth. Yeah.
Julie Bugala and Luka Swindig have a connection that's unmistakable.
Our husbands are good friends, too.
Their more than 15-year bond and hilarious banter.
They wouldn't let us be on the same grade level.
Made even stronger by their extraordinary journey.
She got my blood in her now.
Yeah, I do. 5 years ago, I had a heart surgeries. I had 5. And my liver enzymes were high.
What started as a routine follow-up.
I was a step away from cirrhosis.
Became a desperate search for survival.
It's a very rare disease, primary biliary cholangitis.
Julie's doctors delivered devastating news.
We will have to find you a donor because my time was very limited. My spleen was about gone. So I put it on Facebook. I said, I don't ask for nothing. I give. I'm not a taker. And I said, the Cleveland Clinic put out for a living donor if anybody wanted to. My insurance will pay for everything.
Luka saw the post.
She didn't tell me, like, I knew she was very, very sick, but not like that. Because of course we're going to work, we're doing, we're still bouncing around and doing this and that. I just text her, I'm like, Joel, what can I do? What do you need me to do?
The answer would change both their lives forever.
And she's like, well, Luch, just call this number. So I called the number. Then they call me back and, ask some questions and then make these appointments. And it was from then, it was just a boom.
Luka would become Julie's living donor, giving 60% of her liver to save her best friend.
You didn't hesitate to help.
No. Why? Oh, because I love this girl, number one. I left it in God's hands. I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
A remarkable gesture from someone who...
She hates blood. She'll lose it, and she did that. She did one of her biggest fears.
That's how much she loves you.
Yeah, I know.
Julie says accepting this ultimate gift came with its own fears.
I hope to God that she's okay after this because she's my friend. And if I come out okay and she doesn't, this wasn't worth it to me.
April 14th arrived, surgery day.
I had 2 letters written, one to my son and one to my husband.
Both women survived the surgery. Their first words to each other came over the phone.
It was emotional. We both were crying because, like you said, she did that for me.
The recovery process was slow, but today, Julie is thriving.
I feel good. I mean, I'm waking up every day. Every morning I get up and I say, thank you, Jesus, for another day.
Is it possible to put into words how grateful you are to Luka and what she did for you?
I told her I couldn't. I told you I never can repay her, but tell her I love her every day. And,
She does.
And
She does.
Thank her for saving my life every day.
She gets too, she gets too emotional. It's like, I know, honey, I know that.
A friendship born in the halls at school. But when Julie needed a hero, she learned she already had one.
That was such a heartwarming story from Lindsay Buckingham. Now, most of us put a sentimental value on objects that mean more to us than others. Now, for me, it is my grandmother's watch, and it makes me feel a little bit closer to her, even though she's not with us anymore. Now, for another woman we're going to introduce you to, it was her dad's classic Volkswagen Beetle, and it was almost gone. That is, until a viral search reunited her with the beloved car. James Corrigan explains.
A car can accomplish many things. It can get you where you need to go, and it can also get you to a place of comfort. For Tisha Rosado of East Berlin, those cars are the Volkswagens she collects. In July, a new addition joined her set, a 2003 Beetle from a veteran's auction. But the car of love had found itself showing its years.
The entire car was covered in mold from head to toe. You couldn't even see her adorable Betty Boop floor mats because they were just covered in mold.
Tisha had planned to take it apart and use its parts to help restore a different Beetle, until she opened the visor and found a surprise letter from the car's previous owner saying goodbye to their love bug.
I was like, there's no way that we can chop this car up and use it for parts. We need to find the owner, we need to get it running again, and we need to let her know that her best friend is continuing on.
Tisha now needed to find the owner and knew the one place she could go to spread the word: TikTok.
You know we buy a lot of Beetles, but this one came with a little surprise.
Then the card inside says, get well soon. And it says, hoping you're feeling better each day and you'll soon be up and on your way. Thank you for keeping me safe, for all the joy and fun we had.
You were my dream car. You made me feel special. I hope your journey continues and you bring someone lots of joy.
The woman going by Tree lives in New York and had bought the car in 2003 to share with her father, with whom she had grown up loving Herbie the love bug.
When I was little, my father was obsessed with Herbie. He loved Beetles. And I told him, I said, when I grow up, I'm going to buy you a Herbie. And I walked in and there was my car. There was Herbetta on a spindle spinning around. And I said, that's my car.
After her father passed away 3 years later, her bond with the car that she would name Herbetta grew. But it was during the pandemic when the car fell on hard times, as it grew moldy and ceased running. Tree's decision to sell it to a veterans group felt as if her final connection to her father was gone.
And I hung up the phone and I just sobbed. And I looked up to my dad and I said, Dad, I failed. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I failed you.
But less than a month later, a friend sent her a video.
I was watching the video. I literally slid off the couch and fell on the floor. And I couldn't believe this beautiful young girl who is reading this letter is sitting with shorts in my car, and it's completely cleaned.
Tisha's TikTok had gone viral, and she was able to get in touch with Tree to let her know that her love bug is in good hands. The letter inspired Tisha to restore the car and raise money through a GoFundMe to deliver it back to Tree and reunite her with her long-lost Herbetta. A gesture and a saga that has shown both that fate has a way of bringing people exactly where they need to be.
I don't believe in coincidence. I think that everything happens for a reason. And this car found me because me and Tree were both in a point in our life where we could use a friend.
In one sentence, love continues. If you think someone has passed and they are not still with you, they are with you. Love continues.
Proving that no door is ever truly closed and no amount of love can be measured in mere miles.
That was James Corrigan reporting. We have much more for you ahead on Featured. Straight up next, does this toddler have what it takes to be the best in America? Well, her parents sure think so. Coming up later in the show, you can be the judge. And the sound of a chainsaw usually means destruction, but not in this case. We'll see how an old tree could be reborn. And move over teddy bears and therapy dogs. There's a new sheriff in town. Oh boy. Up next, we meet Ryan, the emotional support robot. Welcome back, everyone. Now, doctors often say the key to a longer life is to stay active and engaged. Now, for some folks living at a senior living facility in Denver, that connection is coming from a new roommate. Evan Krugel shows us how researchers are taking a little bit of a different approach to addressing the loneliness epidemic.
In a game of mahjong, every move matters. Mary Vapp loves the competition.
Now you lost my concentration.
As she sorts through the tiles at Kavod Senior Living with Karen Woolman.
You get a bunch of Jewish women together and you're on your own.
The occasional friendly jab is all part of the fun.
These two ladies are cutthroat. No. That's not on the air, is it? No, I gotta be careful.
But this game is serving a deeper purpose by keeping these women active.
Automatic door. It's great.
In a place where isolation can be a problem.
This is my husband, Douglas.
Mary lost Douglas 6 years ago before moving into Kavod Senior Living in Denver.
And he was at peace. It was beautiful, actually. But it was lonesome.
Mary never thought she'd live with anyone else.
Now we will work a bit on our biceps.
Until a man named Ryan came along.
Become aware of any sensations in your body.
Ryan is a companion robot that can play games, hold conversation, and even do yoga.
Find a comfortable seat.
Yes, I got my seat.
Sit up nice and tall.
Mary can't even fathom how Ryan works.
Now return to breathing in through your nose.
That mechanical stuff, that's not me at all.
Thankfully, there is someone who understands.
Yeah, so of course we know, we have designed it.
Mohammed Mahour is the brains behind Ryan.
As you can see, Ryan can recognize my facial expressions.
Hello. It is great to hear from you again. What is new with you today?
Can you tell me a joke, Ryan?
He's been perfecting the social robot for 16 years on the DU campus.
He's a teenager, yeah.
Like any teenage brain, Ryan is still a work in progress. Fixing those problems in the lab is one thing.
What do you do with your dogs?
My what? My dogs? I don't have a dog.
Mary's job is to offer advice from the real world.
He asks the same questions all the time, like maybe a few more new questions.
Despite his flaws, Mary sees potential.
Get the purpose of it and what they want to gain from teach people is awesome.
Mary.
Yes, dear, come.
Hello.
Come.
How are things going?
Christy Martinez, Kavod's assisted living director, is glad to have the help.
Everyone has their times that, they get a little lonely. So I think Ryan fills that space and gives them all that extra attention
Like
that
I
they
said,
deserve.
I am going to miss him waking me up in the morning. I know.
I can always come in.
Yeah, you can.
Mary isn't sure what her husband would think of Ryan.
He wouldn't like that voice in the morning saying to get up. Who's that guy?
Mary's time with Ryan is coming to an end.
Feel the rise and fall.
As he moves off to another resident for more testing.
I have to go back to the alarm.
Laughter will still be a part of Mary's life.
Oh my goodness.
And she's happy she got a chance to develop a new kind of friendship.
He's supposed to give you the compliments.
Yeah. And that's different than in marriage.
That was Evan Krugel reporting. In Texas, folks are sweating it out at the gym to help a student heal. Will Riddell shares why strangers chose to step up to support his family during this difficult time.
Push-ups, planks, and sit-ups were all on the menu at Cursive Longview, a local gym hosting a fundraiser for Lucas Hardiman. Lucas is the Kilgore ISD student who was hospitalized recently after an alleged on-campus assault. Tanya runs the gym with her husband, Brian. The two were quick to step up when they heard about the family's situation.
When we saw that, you know, we're parents ourselves, so we just wanted to help support the family and raise some funds to help with the medical expenses and other needs that they have.
Lucas suffered serious head injuries following an altercation at school where another student threw him to the ground, causing his head to strike a stool attached to a table. Lucas had to be taken to Dallas Children's Hospital, where he was treated for both a fractured skull and internal bleeding.
So what we've asked everybody to do is a $10 donation for boot camp and Zumba today, and that is all going directly to Lucas's family, and they're here today.
Lucas's father, Michael, participated in the boot camp, breaking a sweat with everyone else to support his son. The family appreciates all the help they've received in the days following the incident.
We've had people reach out from who've heard his story states away, and it's definitely just nice to still know, I mean, there's tons of good people around the world.
Good people like Tanya and Brian Cruz, who managed to raise nearly $1,000 for Lucas.
I think it was important for us to step up and help because a lot of times everyone sort of thinks somebody else will do it, somebody else will take care of it. But as followers of Christ, you know, it is our job to be the hands and feet, you know, of the church and to be the village for the people that need a village.
That was Will Riddell reporting. Now, at last check, the gym raised more than $35,000 for the family. Now, a different kind of medicine arrives at a children's hospital in Minnesota. Ian Russell shows us how the staff is prescribing smiles with a dose of fun.
There's a million places a kid would rather be than at the hospital.
It's a foreign place for them.
Just ask Frankie
Yeah.
and her mom, Paula.
She normally goes to the fair every year, and because she's in the hospital this year, she hasn't been able to go. This is her third time being hospitalized this summer.
A break in tradition.
We're hopeful to be able to go home soon. The last 5 days have been really long. There we go.
As Frankie heals.
Okay.
It's hard to be a kid, especially when you can't do what you've looked forward to.
I like the big yellow slide.
You can do it.
But if you can't make it to the fair,
Oh my gosh.
why not make the fair?
So do you have any pet cows at home?
Come to you.
No.
Too much to pick from, right? You just want to do everything? Yeah. And we will.
You like Spider-Man?
The fairgrounds may be miles away, but today, they're right here.
Do you want to do something else? Just bringing a little piece of the fair right to patients and families who unfortunately aren't able to experience it firsthand.
All right, Luke, lift your hand.
From face painters
You have two Among Us toys.
to caricatures.
It's just awesome to be able to see them smile, see them laugh, and give them that opportunity.
The Great Minnesota Get Together means fun for everyone.
You are doing such a good job.
To be able to experience something like the fair just makes it feel a little bit more comfy and fun.
A chance for kids to be kids,
Oh, it's beautiful.
no matter what the fairgrounds look like.
Having the fair here allows her to still enjoy her life and to heal faster.
In St. Paul, Ian Russell.
Already, don't go too far. Still ahead on Featured, the youngest are taking charge. How kids are showing that strength comes in all sizes. Plus, their wedding guest declined, but this couple didn't cancel. We'll explain how strangers stepped in to give them a day to remember. Welcome back. Let's dive into what's trending now. A couple in Pennsylvania plans to celebrate their love surrounded by family and friends, but unfortunately, most of the guest list declined the invitation. Mackenzie Alker tells us how one viral post filled empty seats with strangers.
Music and singing filled Cameron Park in Sunbury Thursday morning, with balloons tied to the benches and on the pavilion, community members gathered to witness a once-in-a-lifetime event.
I met the lovely couple just a few weeks ago, actually right here in the park. I was playing music. We did like an open mic here in the park night, and they came up and approached me afterwards.
That couple is Kevin and Julie Liu. They asked Hoover if she can help them tie up some loose ends for their special day.
I said, well, I can definitely help with that. I can get people to come, and turned out quite well.
The special event, a wedding. The couple told Hoover many of their friends and family members couldn't make the trip to Sunbury for the ceremony. So Hoover stepped in, making this Facebook post inviting the Sunbury community to come out and show their support. The post received 279 shares, leaving the bride and groom speechless.
We saw more people come here. It's so exciting. Yeah, we think I have a very good wedding.
The happy couple have been living in Sunbury for a year and a half.
We're very lucky this small town. They small, but they beautiful. The people very nice.
I have to say that I got really choked up because it is just an absolutely beautiful act of kindness that the community came out to support them, and it just shows the importance of connecting and just loving each other no matter what.
That was Mackenzie Alker reporting. Now, I love to see social media being used for good. You know, that doesn't always happen. All right, that's a wrap on what's trending. Here's what you can expect up next. A big name in country music is making a huge impact on one middle school. We'll show you how he's giving back to the next generation of rock stars. Thank you for staying with us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you some uplifting stories across the country. Now, more than a dozen of law enforcement agencies across Washington swore in some new leaders, but they are a lot younger than you would think. Connor Board takes us to Washington, where little chiefs are being honored for overcoming some big challenges.
A grand entrance just big enough for the littlest police chiefs and sheriffs. 16 law enforcement departments from across Western Washington were there to swear in their chief for a day. All these kids have been diagnosed with chronic or life-threatening conditions. Today they're being honored for their strength and resilience. 8-year-old Annabelle was Tacoma's chief for a day.
Did your mom help put the pin on you, or did she? Yeah.
When Annabelle was first approached about joining the police department, she had hesitations. Her dad works for the Tacoma Fire Department.
So there was a little bit of convincing when we first presented this to her about she was a police officer, not a firefighter.
The Ferndale Police Department was represented by their chief for a day, Andy.
Because I feel like I have power.
He had his favorite parts of the day.
Bomb squad robots.
And there was something else.
But I like loud stuff.
He was really looking forward to.
You know, we just want to make this as good of a day as possible, give them something to take their mind off the things that are happening in their life.
Frankie Ramos is a new officer with the Centralia Police Department. Today he took the stage as a keynote speaker, but 15 years ago,
2010, so I was 10 years old.
He was at this same event as one of the kids being honored as chief for a day.
I just remember so many people coming together trying to make it a memorable event. There was SWAT vehicles from a bunch of different agencies, free food everywhere.
This event impacted his life, and he wants other kids to have the opportunity as well.
So I hope they keep doing it and more agencies get involved and more kids can get to have this experience.
It's really awesome, actually, just because it's usually those kids that aren't in the spotlight as much, and they definitely deserve the honor for that.
Congratulations. In Burien, Connor Board,
Turning now to a middle school in Washington. Jake Wittenberg tells us how a country music singer is helping student musicians hit the right note with a generous donation.
It was an exciting day at Mill Creek Middle School.
I had to go back and read that email a couple of times.
The orchestra director is still in shock.
I couldn't believe it.
After she found out her school would receive $42,000 to help fund their music program, thanks to a grant funded by country music star Morgan Wallen.
But y'all, it ain't as good as it seems. This living a dream.
Yep, that Morgan Wallen.
$42,000 is a significant amount of money, especially right now at a time where school budgets are extremely tight.
Principal Fitney, a former cellist himself, says the money will be used to buy and replace instruments at the middle school, which has the largest music program in the Kent School District.
So we have about a third of our students are involved in some sort of performing arts.
The money will also cover new bows, reeds, and mouthpieces, anything the students need to keep the music going.
Oftentimes we see kids that the only reason they wake up in the morning is because of the orchestra class. They love the music.
To have someone else outside the community to come in and bless us with this grant, that means somebody else believes in our students just like we do.
And because of who the donor is, these young musicians can now expect a new genre in the curriculum.
I can tell you that country music will be one of them, and I think we know the artists that we're going to study.
That was Jacob Wittenberg reporting. Now we are going in the high-tech world of modern-day pigeon racing, where invisible ink and GPS tracking prove that this is no backyard hobby. Hunter Funk gives us a look at the fast-growing sport in Idaho.
Long before text messages and email, there were wings.
Come on.
Pigeons once carried words across the world.
For you to be able to send me a message, you would actually have to have one of my pigeons. And so if you had one of mine, and it's like they had them during the war, and they used them to send messages out. And what they would have is they would have a main loft somewhere, and they would take, how many ever birds with them that they could carry safely. And then they would turn those loose with the messages, and they would fly back to wherever that spot was.
But today in the Treasure Valley, they carry a different task, one that requires speed.
We fly races anywhere from 100 to 500 miles.
It's called pigeon racing.
I'm just now getting these loft trained to fly around.
And to understand it, we went to John Stockwell.
This is the clock that I use. It's actually hooked up to a couple of antennas out here on the landing board, and I'll just set it, and at least for training, and now it's ready to go for training, so I'll be able to know when they come in. We do something very similar when we do for races. We set it up and then we can track them.
Pigeon racing isn't new.
Pigeon racing in and of itself has been going on since the early 1800s.
In fact, clubs in Idaho trace back to the early 1970s. But to know about it takes knowing someone who does it. John picked it up as a teen, set it down for a while, then took it back up again nearly a decade ago. The sport works like this.
Load up.
Birds are loaded into crates.
Come on, load up.
Driven miles away, then released all at once. The pigeons race back to their home loft. The first to arrive is the winner.
There's electronic RFID chips that are on each of the bird's leg. And they clock in on the system, and then we can take that and we upload all that into the computer, onto the internet, and we're able to calculate speeds based on the distance. We have the exact GPS coordinates of where they're released from, and we base it on yards per minute.
Training begins close, a few miles down the road.
As young birds, I'll put them on the landing board here. I get them used to trapping in and out and going in, and then they get used to loft flying here. And once they've done that, they actually do, after a time, they do what they call routing, which is that they'll actually let them out and they'll just take off and disappear for an hour at a time. And that's just them out trying to see what's going on in the world.
Then the distance expands, 20, 50, 100 miles away. Each release teaching them one thing: find the loft and never forget it.
I want my birds to fly 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes an hour and a half a day, depending on where I'm going and how far I'm trying to get them trained out.
Behind it all, though, is care. John mixes specialized feed, even checks the air quality before releasing the birds.
We get a lot of smoke and a lot of fires here in the valley, usually in the fall. We're trying to train out our birds, and I'm not going to waste and hurt my birds with bad smoke and bad air quality.
Idaho's Combine has about 30 members. Some are brand new young adults and families, finding the same fascination John once did.
My goal is I will give people birds if it will make sense and if it can help them get started. I just want to see more people get into the sport and to just enjoy it.
And like the birds themselves, the joy in pigeon racing always circles back.
I mean, I like to win. I don't win them all. It's just the way it is. But, you know, there's days, there's been races where I've actually rooted for somebody else to win because I'd rather they win. It's all part of, I don't know, it's all part of the fun.
That was Hunter Funk reporting. All right, let's take it over to Connecticut now, where a farm is preserving the past. One man is using his power tool to transform decaying timber into a stunning display. Jim Altman shows us how a chainsaw is carving a new beginning for a centuries-old tree.
The dust has yet to settle, nor has the sawdust.
So this was actually a dead tree, and we gave new life to it.
This is the Dudley Farm Museum, where, notch after notch, Jared Welcome has been commissioned to carve his niche. A cutting-edge artist whose works are showcased across the region, Jared is now getting his hands dirty here. On the farm that predates the state, a once towering sugar maple is taking on a new shape.
You know, what's awesome about this particular carvage, at one point this tree was tapped for maple syrup. At one point it gave shade probably to all the farmers here, would come sit under it, have picnics right up near the road. So it has such a beautiful history to it.
For 1 week only, the buzz here has taken on a different tenor.
It really goes along with our mission to preserve the past. The sugar maple that was here was just beautiful, and unfortunately it had rot and had to be cut down. We found Jared. He had done some work with other museums, and it's just, it's nice to preserve the past.
At the very top of the tree is a rooster. He's going to be eternally crowing.
And with a focus on the future. Going against the grain seems to work here.
Rather than just cutting it down and losing all those hundreds of years that this tree was alive, we're able to now repurpose it and give it a whole new life, and now a whole new generation of people can come and appreciate this carving. And really, it kind of invites you in to explore the museum and all the grounds.
It's a resurrection. It's sort of like the Giving Tree, the Shel Silverstein book, so that it's giving new life and extending its life the way that we're doing with the farm.
In Guilford, Connecticut, Jim Altman for Featured.
Now, for many adults, drinking has become a part of socializing at family functions, nightlife, sporting events, the list goes on. But a music festival in Ohio rather, is giving people a good time without the buzz. Kristen McFarland speaks to people who are toasting to the sober life.
A celebration of sobriety and a commitment to a healthier lifestyle. Hundreds filled the fairgrounds, each with a different story, but many with similar struggles.
I've got 5 months clean right now. Doing it, it's fun. It's actually a new way to live, and I want to keep going.
Through music, conversation, and powerful messages, the event touched many, bringing comfort, connection, and hope.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Renee and Jeremy Sane are married and now 2 years clean. They decided to get sober together.
Struggles that we went through, and we're wanting to help others to achieve sobriety and get clean time. And going to events like this and being able to not drink and use, and it just gives people hope that, you can live a clean and sober life.
A big focus of this event is to connect people with multiple resources for anyone struggling with sobriety or actively seeking it, no matter where they are in their journey.
Minnie, on their sobriety journey, says it takes a village with support needed every step of the way.
It raises awareness within the community that, like I said, we're in this together, and if someone is seeking treatment or recovery or even thinking about it, we're here.
As people lean on each other for support, they're hoping more will step into the sober community and spark inspiration for others to follow.
And that was Kristen McFarland reporting. Time for a quick break, but let's take a look at what's coming up next. A daughter laid her father to rest decades ago. How a new discovery is bringing him back to life. Plus, a woman expects a delivery, but not what's inside this one. We'll tell you why she's on a mission to get the property back to the rightful owner. Welcome back. We revisit the home of a piano player in Maryland. Now, Sean Martinelli shows us her impressive miniature piano collection, but this time she is sharing how her late father is still speaking to her even after his death.
Good stories are like good songs. They take us places we least expect. This is the tale of how Janice Kelsch discovered the perfect notes, a discovery that had nothing to do with music.
It's always going to be a treasure. It'll always be a treasure.
Janice is talking about a gift from her father, Robert Henry Kelsch. He served as an army cook during World War II. But Janice says when the war ended, her father's service didn't. He served as a husband to his wife, and when she passed away from cancer, Robert served as a single father to his 3 girls.
He treasured his daughters, and we treasured him.
Which made it especially hard for them when their dad died suddenly of a heart attack. What do you miss most about your father?
Everything. Everything. Everything.
Decades after her father's passing, Janice made a discovery.
So it's a whole story.
These scattered scribbles are letters from her dad, letters written during the war, letters that gave Janice a piece of the man she lost back.
Okay, so this one was August the 13th, 1944. Dearest, yours was received, and I was more than glad to hear from you.
In these unexpected notes, Janice saw a side of her father she never knew, from the pen pal romance with the woman who had become her mother.
Well, darling, until you hear from me again, here's love to you and the family.
To the beginnings of Robert's dream of owning a restaurant.
To have a fine diner, to serve individuals, and something that he enjoyed doing. And that's what he ended up doing to the very day that he died. He had his mind set on what he wanted, and he stuck to it, in spite of my father only having an eighth grade education.
Janice says these letters brought her father closer, made her love for him even deeper.
Well, and I'm going to do something with them.
She plans to turn the notes into a book. While Robert's life may have been cut short, his story will not. He still touches you all these years later.
Absolutely, and always will.
Always will, thanks to the messages sent some 8 decades ago, now once again delivered.
So I am closing with love to all until you hear from me again. Love, son Bob.
In Hagerstown, Maryland, Sean Martinelli.
I love that one. Now, nearly 60 million packages are delivered every day to doorsteps across the country, but one woman's online shopping order in Pennsylvania arrived with quite a surprise inside. Melissa Stininger shows us how she is now searching to reunite some priceless memories with their long-lost owner.
Because this was already taped, it would have left their warehouse.
A package on the front porch, unraveling a mystery in Wilkes-Barre. When Pat Chivarella tore open her package from Old Navy, she thought she'd find nothing more than a pair of jeans.
And I thought, okay, What is this? I looked at it and I thought, oh, maybe it's coupons or something.
Instead, she unfolded someone else's memories. Photos of the 70s brought to life in color.
You could see the dishwasher, you see the tea kettle, the paneling. That's all 70s, sister.
A stack of memories.
They're dancing. You know, it's like, look at her. Like, she's so happy.
A smiling family, a celebration, and well-loved children.
Now, on our phones, we can keep a picture stored. Back in the 70s, this is what you have, and that's it.
But these weren't just tossed aside. Someone had sealed them in a worn but well-loved Ziploc bag, taped carefully inside.
But they must carry this with them all the time. You can tell.
The package went through Bound Brook, New Jersey to Easton, Pennsylvania before making its way to Pittston in transit. Pat's called Old Navy. She's reached out to UPS with no answers.
Somebody might say, oh, throw them away. What do you care? I care a lot. Because I know there's somebody.
Trying to unite these physical memories with the person who can now only hold them in their heart. Something Pat knows well, losing her sister Becky 15 years ago. These photos showing up on her stoop on the anniversary of her death.
I know somebody is saying, get these pictures back to that person.
For now, these pictures sit safe with Pat.
There's too many memories here, you know, too many memories.
A mystery keepsake and a woman looking to help these memories make their way back home.
We gotta find them. That's all I know. We gotta find them.
Melissa Steininger.
Or we have more for you coming up next. A toddler takeover. You will meet a 2-year-old who is in the running to be a national treasure. How she's capturing hearts across the country. Welcome back. Every parent likes to brag about their kids, right? Well, usually that means, breaking out the phone and showing off pictures or videos of your little ones. But as Sean Giggy tells us, one Texas mom is showing off her daughter to the entire country. Take a look.
Where's your numbers on here? Look.
All parents are biased.
Yes.
But when Marissa Magallanes of Benbrook says she has the best toddler in America, she's not alone in that belief.
I am very biased, but we were both pretty surprised about that.
Marissa says her daughter's joy
Oh, yeah.
bubbles over.
For sure.
So much of what people love about 2-year-old Athena can be seen in the videos her mom posts on social media.
She likes to make people smile. We'll be at the store and she'll just bust out singing.
Because Athena's joy is so infectious, Marissa's husband heard about this contest for Toddler of the Year and asked Marissa if she thought they should enter.
Sure, let's go for it. Not really expecting much.
Of course, Marissa believed she had the best toddler in America, but good luck convincing America.
So I just signed her up, not really thinking much of it.
Which is why it was so surprising when Athena reached the top 20, then the top 15, top 10, and now top 5.
Do you think she understands or knows what's going on at all?
Yeah, I don't think so. She really sees it as it's her world and these are all my friends. And these are new people that I get to meet.
Whether Athena wins or not, Marissa says it's an example.
What do you think she found?
Reminding us of the joy that comes when we spread it to others. Wow. And Marissa is happy the nation is getting to see it.
Because she's so special, I also want to share it and share that joy that I find with her.
All parents are biased, and for good reason, because they know that although there's only one Toddler of the Year, every child has the power to make your day.
Thanks, Mom. You're welcome.
In Benbrook, I'm Sean Giggy.
The toddler who wins will get $25,000, and I'm sure her parents will find some way to use that money to set her up for the future. Now, they also will lead a parade around the holidays. Good luck to that little one and all the others competing. All right, that is it for Featured. Until next time, make it a great one.